How does it feel to be 50? Coming apart at the seams. How does it feel to be 50? Laxatives in your dreams. How does it feel? How's it feel to be 50?
You want to hear some music? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, today you're going to get all the music you want.
The request lines are now open. KGFJ Soul Radio.
Do it now, man.
Request lines are up.
It's open, man.
Got any Blue Oyster Cult?
No, I don't have any Blue Oyster Cult. I ate 34 pairs last time around. Where were you? I was that close to working at 7-Eleven, you know.
Pass the word along. Tell the men it's time to shoot the moon.
Shoot the moon!
Out there on the microphone. On the microphone.
Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon.
The attitude dictates that you don't care whether she comes, stays, lays, or prays. I mean, whatever happens, your toes are still tapping.
Hey, Strawberry! Oh, Strawberry. Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing? This is my friend.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What you looking at, man?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at his neck, man.
Can you honestly tell me that you forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
That's kid stuff.
Kid stuff. Well, how about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Build your muscles picking strawberries. You know, Bend and Scoop. Maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Start with strawberries, you might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy, are you gonna get your act together?
We're creating a society of cell phone crazed, marijuana smoking zombies.
Coming to you not quite live from Lukewarm Tallboy Studios deep in the land of Gar, this is Bend and Scoop, the podcast featuring music, mirth, and minutia, focused on exposing artists you probably haven't heard, but should. I'm Bob, and I'll be your tour guide on this amazingly asymmetric auditory adventure as we journey to the center of your cochlea. Welcome to episode 50, the same number worn by one of America's greatest basketball players, the Admiral, David Robinson. Joining us at the end of the show to play a round of Is That Your Vinyl Answer in the Groovin' After Party will be our very special guest Jay Scott from the Hook Rocks podcast. We spread the gospel of vinyl here at Bend and Scoop, so be sure to tell us all about your favorite neighborhood record store by posting to @BendScoop on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag SpinMomandPop. Our record store of the week is a favorite of our special guest Jay, Rolling Stones Music in Norridge, Illinois. You can follow them on Twitter @RLNStonesMusic, on Instagram @Rolling Stones Records, and you can check out their website at rollingstonesmusic.com. Nashville is home to The Lees of Memory, whose 2020 album Moonshot contains this rocker, Live Without, on Bend and Scoop. Hot Snakes, slithering out of San Diego there with a single they released in 2019 called Checkmate. How Many is a podcast where I get together with my friends Jesse, Junior, Gary, and Scott to debate a variety of pop culture topics, including movies, sports, TV, music, and more. You can follow How Many on Twitter at HowManyPodcast and listen at HowManyPodcast.com. Dan Brick is a Canadian pop craftsman currently based in Durham, North Carolina. This single from 2006 certainly ain't no bull. It's Becca Rebecca here on Bend and Scoop.
Rubenesque, statuesque, blue eyes framed by cat eye glasses, dark lashes, reddish sashes, faintest trace of a pencil thin mustache. Is this a test of my monogamous status? Paisley skirt, Gucci purse, probably a knockoff, but what does that matter? White shoulders, open toes in taupe shoes that match your sweater. Is this a test of my monogamous status? Oh, Rebecca, 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 you're all so fine, will you ever be mine? Oh, Rebecca, Rebecca, they call you Chewbacca, but I would never, ever do that, yeah. I saw your name on the customs card, you're making my little inch a yard, you're gonna leave my conscience scarred. We keep smiling, saying nothing beyond a couple of nondescript phrases. Tongue is tied up, my mouth is dried up, like I've been sewn by a livestock taser. Is this a test of my monogamous status? groovy, like in a movie. Though it might take a black one to move me. I'm looking down on downtown Malton. Is that skirt really a Halston? I think I'm falling in love, in love, in love. Or is it just infatuation? Pause the door, open to the bathroom, and smile like daytime TV. No one's paying much attention. Up front the flight attendant looks busy. Is this a test of my monogamous status? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rebecca, Rebecca, you're oh so fly, even at a mile high. Rebecca, you're the top, you're the bomb. I don't care if you're the mom. Read your name on my customs card as you straighten your jacquard, and you transferred for Riyadh, yeah. Didn't even say your name, just Jesus when you came, but I knew it just to say, yeah.
I want you to meet Chris Knight. This is Mike Dodd, the one who just designed our brand new Telcom satellite.
It's an honor to meet you, sir. Telcom. Isn't that the satellite that's raining debris all over Europe?
Why is that toy on your head?
Because if I wear it anywhere else, it chafes. I'm sorry. It's just that I didn't want you guys to think I was stuffy, you know. No fun. All brain, no penis.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry. It's just an infantile response to authority.
Yes, you are Chris Knight, aren't you?
I hope so. I'm wearing his underwear.
It's a joke! I get it! That's funny!
Well, I just can't help but you guys are such fun yourselves.
Well, we try to be. Isn't that right, Mike?
No.
All in my life I've been running in circles, chasing the American dream, living in America, oh, living in America. Inflationary spirals got me feeling suicidal. I can't even afford to buy jeans, living in America, oh, living in America. Hey! Angry Arabians, angrier Americans, gonna give us World War III. Living in America, living in America. And Exxon's laughing all the way to the bank on money sucked from you and me. Living in America, oh, living in America. Hey! Oh, happy ways, whoa, 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 living in America today. Count the ways, whoa, 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 the whole world's American today. Just let me say, whoa, 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 there's no need to worry, we'll all be safe. So many ways, whoa, 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 the whole world's American today. Living in America, living in America, living in America. It's an American world. 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 It's an American world.
From here in Dallas all the way back in 1980, that was The Telephones with Living in America off their classic LP Vibration Change. Campfire Songs is a podcast where I get together with my buddies Todd, Jim, and Tom to share and discuss songs with each other. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @SongsCampfire and give us a listen for more great music. Here's a unique jam from Oakland's Dick Stuso off 2015's Nashville Dreams / Sings the Blues called I Am Not the Girl You Used to Know on Bend and Scoop. Off their 2020 record Paved Mountain, that was Brooklyn's Radical Dads with Backswing. Have you ever wanted to host a podcast? Well, all you have to do to join the Mike Hunt and host your very own episode of Assume the Juxtaposition is send me your topic idea to lukewarmtallboy@gmail.com. You can follow Assume the Juxtaposition on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at AssumeTJPod. For a good time, dial up these guys, 1-800-BAND, with this one from 2016's High Beams called Judy's Glass on Bend and Scoop.
Judy's glass was empty last night. She kept looking around for a little white light. Next to the waitress, she was looking alright. Judy's glass was empty last night. She's taking classes just to keep it inside. Spanish conversation from 3 to 5. From the early sunrise to the swimming pool nights. But Judy's trying to make it alright. Put it into the driveway before you know. It's only so far, man, and she's willing to go tonight. That's right. Getting dressed, about to go out. Bugging perfume and a little bit of shout. You can't leave the planet if you don't leave the house. Judy's trying, she's stepping out. She walks down the riverside all alone. It's only so far, man, that she's willing to go tonight. That's right. Judy's glass was empty last night. She kept looking around for a little white light. Next to the waitress, she was looking alright. But Judy's glass was empty last night. Saw it on the news, the evening TV. A story flashed on, it wasn't meant to be. Judy left with him when she was looking at me. And they unplugged the jukebox at a 3:15.
Kent! Wake up, Kent! Kent!
What?
I'm talking to you, Kent.
What is this?
I said I'm talking to you.
No. Okay, who is this?
This is Jesus, Kent.
I want you to think about what you've done, Kent, and from now on,
Stop playing with yourself.
It is God.
All over, it's over. I forgot how to live in a city with stop signs and more like suggestions. All of the people fit the same
That's Delta Spirit frontman Matthew Logan Vasquez with Trailer Park off his 2019 album Lighten Up. Plausible Deniability is a monthly podcast I co-host with my pal David Miller, which you can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Pause Deny. We post new episodes on the first day of every month. And don't forget to stick around for the end of the show when we'll be joined in the Groovin' After Party by our special guest Jay Scott from the Hook Rocks podcast. Our band name of the week goes to this next act, the Wolf Manhattan Project, whose 2019 LP, Blue Jean Stew, features this track called Silver Sun here on Bend and Scoop.
Get ready for shocking low prices. The lowest of the year. They're just a few hours away. Customify is winding the clock for an incredible nationwide marathon sale. Customify's marathon sale smashes prices. So get ready. Watch for it. Listen for it. Because Customify has so many special buys, Customify must open for 54 full hours around the clock. 54 price-shocking different hourly specials, priced so low, they're good for just 60 minutes each, plus all-day marathon sale specials. And Customify's marathon sale guarantees you Customify will beat any local advertised price, or Customify will give you $100 cash. So be ready, because there'll never be a better time to save like this. Customify's 54-hour record-breaking marathon sale. World premiering 6 p.m. Thanksgiving Day for 54 non-stop hours. It's a price buster.
Holding in your head. The tears that you've shed have washed you away in a river of pain, confusion and dread. Shout just a little, scream just a little, cry till the pain comes out, and it will help just a little, soak in the riddle to see what it's all about. But try to remember the sweetest things. Just try, 'cause you'll have them again. So shout just a little, scream just a little, cry till the pain comes out, and it will help just a little, soak in the riddle to know what it's all about. So shout just a little, scream just a little, cry till the pain comes out, and it will help just a little, soak in the riddle to know what it's all about.
Medway's Graham Day and the Gaylors there with their 2019 single Just a Little. If you want to listen to all this great music without having to hear me blather between songs, be sure to check out our Bend and Scoop Spotify playlist. If we played it and they have it, you can listen to it there. And if you enjoy listening to what we do here on Bend and Scoop, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm not sure who first came up with the whole concept of podcasts, but I think we can all agree that person is a real genius.
When the military runs short on brains, they go hunting at Pacific Tech, an exclusive institution for outstanding intellects, where the superstar of smarts is Chris Knight. You have a jacuzzi? Absolutely. His hobbies violate the laws of gravity. What are you doing out there? Floating, sir. His homework could win a Nobel Prize. He's one of the 10 finest minds in the country. And his IQ is higher than most people can count. I can't stand it. Have you ever seen a body like this before in your life? She happens to be my dog. Well, I guess you have. But when Chris makes the scientific discovery of the century, you did it. His classmates want the credit. You're not number one around here anymore. His professor wants the publicity. That's it. And the military wants to use his discovery as the ultimate weapon. This is not good. So Chris is about to turn getting even into a science. And show them. Roger. Open Bombay doors. They should never try to outsmart a real genius.
It's no longer landing efficiently. It's shutting down. Shutting down.
Real genius.
people listen to people. So listen, people.
Welcome to the Groovin' After Party. Come on in and pour yourself a cold one.
Joining me now for our Groovin' After Party here on Bend and Scoop is Jay Scott from the Hook Rocks podcast. Welcome, Jay.
How you doing, Bob? What's going on? How are you?
Doing great. Tell everybody a little bit about the Hook Rocks. It's a very interesting podcast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we are coming up on our 2-year anniversary here at the end of June.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Basically, I tell this story that I'm a single dad and my son was becoming a teenager and becoming more independent as he should. And the choice was find a girlfriend or start a podcast. And I started a podcast. But no, it's based on the idea that we all have a moment being rock and roll fans, that moment that you got sucked in, that you got hooked on rock and roll. And we all have our story. Everyone's story is unique. No story is the same. There might be similarities, but it plays off of that. And, do a lot of music commentary talking about, topics that are affecting the rock and roll genre today. We do a lot in terms of interviewing new bands that are emerging, because we hear that same old phrase, rock and roll is dead, by some people, and it certainly isn't. And also some legacy artists too, like Michael Schenker and Joe Satriani and Glenn Hughes and Stephen Piercy. So, we those are really our 3 pillars of topics that we do.
Well, I recently found you and listened to one of your episodes because the episode I tracked down was very specifically related to the record shop and hanging out at the record shop and that kind of triggering and being connected to your love of music as a teen. And I identify with that very intensely because that was how I spent much of my youth, was in the record store. And this podcast, we're very focused on, kind of the vinyl revival and the local mom and pop shop. But the guest that you had on that episode was Stephen Michael from the Growing Up Rock podcast. And so listened to that episode, loved it, said, okay, well, I'm going to check this Growing Up Rock podcast out and listen to one of his episodes. And the one I identified for him, I was like, okay, I want to hear Women and Children First. I love that. And then you were the guest on that, which is great. So I reached out to Stephen and Sonny, his co-host, and actually I talked to them here recently and they're going to be on this next episode. So I actually found you first and kind of intended to have you on first, but somehow I ended up getting them on and talking to them. So we talked and they kind of, had some good natured fun talking about you and stuff. So it was, oh
yeah. Yeah. They're both great guys, both a big fan of their show. Sonny has the worst takes on music you could possibly imagine.
I don't know that I've ever known a guy whose favorite bands or artists were Kiss and Prince. I can see one or the other, but both of them, it seems like an odd combo.
Well, if you ever watch their extra episodes on their Facebook page, Sonny's always sitting down. And I am willing to bet a large sum of money that he's wearing Loverboy red pants from the Loverboy cover album.
Oh, he's missing.
He doesn't want anybody to see. It's the red pants on the cover of the Loverboy album.
Yeah, he just needs to have the Mike Reno bandana and
he's got Y&T pajamas too. I know it. I know.
Yeah, we actually discussed Y&T when I had them on. Of all
awesome.
Things, so.
Yeah, he's a huge fan. Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Jay, let's learn a little bit about your own personal musical journey and play around with something we like to call, is that your vinyl answer? Now, we'll start off and ask you, what was the first record you remember ever buying with your own money?
Kiss Lick It Up.
Okay, solid. 1983. I had that cassette. Yeah, the first one without the makeup.
Yes. I remember watching the MTV special when they did the big dramatic reveal of them, taking off the makeup. Vinnie Vincent was in the band at the time. I think it was his first and only album that he did with Kiss. And I know he did some writing and he was a studio. He did some studio work with Creatures of the Night, but as a full member, this was his first album. But I was always intrigued by Kiss, and because they were always a presence back then, whether it was a cover of a magazine, whether it was on Solid Gold, old. They had the movie, on Halloween night, I think it was, on a Friday night. And, just every time you saw the imagery of them on, the covers of the album when you were in a record store, it just gave you a sense of wonder as a kid. And I always equate my love of music with that sense of wonder. And, I grew up, I was a little kid. I was born in 1975. So I was born into the Star Wars generation, which came shortly thereafter. And that was just a huge buffet of imagination and just thinking anything is possible. And then seeing Kiss and these 4 white-faced humans and that looked like they were not of this earth and they had special powers, and then hearing Van Halen Eruption and sounding like a spaceship. I just love that escape where it takes you to another place.
Yeah, the fantasy aspect.
Yes. It's just, because you're a kid, I'm growing up in the suburbs of Chicago. And when you go in your room, you lock yourself in your room and you listen to music and just closing my eyes and just, leaving reality and just getting lost in the music.
Yeah. And Kiss is a perfect example of that because they almost meld the sensibility with music and comic books, just with the makeup and the characters and everything. That was maybe even Unmasked, I think, was the album that had that as the cover, that kind of had the comic. And I know Gene, my understanding was when he was a kid, he was a huge comic.
Huge comic book fan. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense. Now, where was it that you bought Lick It Up, and do you still have that same copy?
I still have the same copy. It's one of the albums that I have never parted with. I bought some tapes and albums and CDs when I was younger that, however, gave them to a friend, lost them, had them stolen at a party, whatever it was. But that's always been like the Ark of the Covenant for me, where I always, no matter what, it's got to stay with me because it means so much, because I had a paper route at the time and I saved my money to buy it. And then my mother drove me to Big Apple Records and Tapes in Mount Prospect, Illinois, and it was on a weeknight, and I took my money and bought the album, and then before I even played it, I must have stared at it for an hour. Just I couldn't believe that I had it.
Mount Prospect always invokes the Blues Brothers when I hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's where they got
very good. Very good, Bob. Yeah.
The Mount Prospect police auction.
What the hell is this? This was a bargain. I picked it up at the Mount Prospect City Police auction last spring. It's an old Mount Prospect police car. They were practically giving them away.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's good recall on that. Really, the Blues Brothers was part of my introduction to music because blues is so prevalent in Chicago. Growing up in Chicago, you hear the blues when you're in the womb. It's all around you, whether it was at the barbershop, whether it was at barbecues and parties and whatnot, whether it was Magic Sam or Otis Rush. That was part of my introduction. And I've always had appreciation for the blues. I love the blues. I mean, there's times where I'll just go 2-3 weeks with just listening to nothing but old blues artists and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a great genre of music. I love it myself as well. And
yes.
Which band or artist albums make up the largest portion of your collection?
Led Zeppelin. That includes countless numbers of bootlegs, both on CD and vinyl, rarities, 45s, imports, all their albums, all their re-releases, their box sets, their special editions. Led Zeppelin. I mean, I've often joked that I could probably one day sell my Zeppelin collection and put a down payment on a summer home.
You are a Zeppelin completist.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. So I'm very funny about Zeppelin. My introduction to them, I was a huge Kiss fan, and I still am, but my cousin came from California when I was going into my junior year in high school. And I was aware of Zeppelin, and I had heard of Zeppelin prior to that, knew all the standards. He brought a duffel bag full of Zeppelin bootlegs. And he was with my mom and dad. He stayed at my mom and dad's house for like 3.5 weeks. And every night, because he stayed in my room, we would just listen to Zeppelin bootlegs. And by the time he left, I was on a different path, a different journey.
Which of their albums is your favorite?
Physical Graffiti.
Ooh, good choice. That has my favorite Zeppelin song on it.
What's that?
Trampled Underfoot.
Great tune. It's got a great groove to it. I love Physical Graffiti because it really has all the elements that make Zeppelin great. It's got the folksy stuff. It's got the experimental stuff. It's got the psychedelic stuff within the light. It's got the great blues tunes. Such a great level of musicianship on that album.
Which album by any artist have you purchased the most over the years?
I would say there's an album by Pete Yorn called Nightcrawler. He released like 3 or 4 different versions of that with different extra songs. And I've lost a couple of them and I've had to repurchase them. So I would probably say Nightcrawler by Pete Yorn.
Wow, that's a really interesting choice. I like Pete Yorn quite a bit, although I don't know he's ever going to top that first one.
That first album, Bob, I bought. Remember when Tower Records or some record stores, they used to have CDs with and they had the headphones, and there were like 8 CDs, and you could kind of listen to each one of them for a little bit and get a sample. I bought that. I was doing a road trip by myself to go visit a friend in Michigan, and I wanted to get some music, and I bought Black Crowes Southern Harmony because somebody had stolen it or I lost it. So I wanted to replace that. And I read a review of Music for the Morning After, and they had it in one of those kiosk slots. And I checked it out. And Pete Yorn ended up becoming the soundtrack of my 20s because his music connected with me. And Music for the Morning After is one of the albums that impacted my life the most.
I listened to that so much. After a few years after that came out.
Great album.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is. Now, who among your friends and family, and this could include yourself, has the largest vinyl collection, and what size is it?
Oh, it's got to be me, or man, it's probably neck and neck with a buddy of mine. I've got close to about 800 albums, and he's probably there, maybe a little above, maybe a little less.
Excellent.
What helps is I go to these record conventions every other month outside of Chicago, and I just thumb through albums in these boxes. And I was on a big new wave of British heavy metal kick for a while, and I was trying to accumulate those, and those are a little more expensive because they're rare.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're not as prevalent as some of the other stuff. So I had to stop that, you know, because I was spending way too much money.
Do you have a favorite record store, either currently or from when you were growing up?
Well, currently it's Rolling Stone outside of Chicago. It's in Norridge, Illinois. Probably my favorite record store. I probably got 2. There was one in Southern California called Go Boy Records, which was in Redondo Beach, that I used to love going there every time I'd visit family when I was out there. Obviously, there's Tower Records. You know, it's like rock and roll royalty. It's like music royalty back then. And I probably would say the other one was called Pumpkinhead Records, which was just outside of Chicago in the burbs. I was able to develop a friendship with the owner. So I was allowed in the back where all the Led Zeppelin bootlegs were. Because back then you couldn't have that stuff out because you'd get raided. I remember going there with friends and they'd be like, I'm going to go in the back. Like, can I come? I'm like, no, you can't come in the back.
Well, Jay, tell everybody how they can follow you and the podcast on social media.
On social media, you can follow me on Twitter at The Hook Rocks. You can also find me on Facebook, The Hook Rocks as well. Pantheon Podcast, which I'm part of. It's a network of music podcasts. You can find me there. And then on any podcast platform, you can listen and you can follow and subscribe to as well.
And when do your new episodes typically get released?
I love doing it. So you can find every other day, 3 to 4 times a week.
Wow. That is a prolific release schedule.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? I need a break. But
yeah, I'm struggling to keep up with once a week.
Like, I love talking music.
Yes.
I really do. I mean, I could talk music for hours on end and just enjoy the whole aspect of hearing different views and learning about someone's journey in music. I love hearing that. You know, when they get excited about talking about the first album they bought, like you asked me, I love everything about it. If I could just do that all day, I would. I can't, but you know, I don't mind doing 3 to 4 a week and putting them out like that.
Well, keep at it, man. We love it. Glad you got 2 years under your belt. Hope you got many more coming. Thanks for being on, Jay. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want me to come on, I'd be more than happy to it. And we got to reciprocate for you, have you on too as well.
Would love it. Anytime.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you, man. Thanks, Bob.
Don't worry about it, guys. It's all in the mix.
Bye-bye, lardass.
Bend and Scoop is a production of Lukewarm Tallboy Studios.
We will return tomorrow morning with the sun.
Good evening, and have a good life.